In this podcast, Oliver Huntemann tells us stories that weave through his over 20 years of releases, gigs, and running record labels. His current focus, Senzo Sounds, turned 5 this year. He also runs a booking agency called Contrast Artists and has found time between all that to release 5 artist albums, multiple EPs, have a family, and tour the globe. I'm your host, Tigerlight, and this is the Beatport podcast with Oliver Huntemann, who luckily found some time to have a conversation with us. Beatport podcast. Welcome to Beatport.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here at the Berlin headquarters. You were born in Hanover.
That's right.
And then you grew up in Bremen, and I read that you started your first radio shows cutting up tapes, making your own radio shows, disc jockeying in your bedroom, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Like, how did you then go from bedroom DJ to your first live gig, and what was your first live gig like?
My first live gig was in school, and I'm super proud about it because I was the youngest DJ ever who was allowed to DJ, because usually this was the opportunity of the highest classes. So I think it was 10th grade in our school, and I was, I think, in 8th grade already allowed to do this. I still have a picture of this.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And what were you playing on? What was your setup?
There was like, I remember, I was in the beginning of electro-funk, and I played Paul Hardcastle. 19 was very big at that time, but also mixed with some funk and soul stuff. High energy, from this high energy Evelyn Thomas stuff. Shannon let the music play, was around this breakdance area.
And how long was it then after that successful gig at school that you went and played in a venue or in a bar, or what was the next step after that?
I must have been, so I started a regular trainee at the Navy, and I was always like bedroom DJ, took all my stuff with me in the barracks, and was practicing with a 909, 808, and also with my turntables. And a friend of mine was DJ in a club in my hometown, Oldenburg, and Matthias, and we're still friends, so we're in the same studio. It's Hatzler. He's also releasing on my label, and he said, so I'm gonna stop in this club, and the slot is going to be free, so maybe you go there and show what you can. So I made an appointment with the boss, and it was really like in a movie to me. So I had to play half an hour and to show in the afternoon, and to show house mixing and stuff. So mixing was not that big, but it was more about the choosing the music, the selection of tracks, and it was like a black music club in a big discotheque. And after my set, so the boss was asking me, so what are you going to do next weekend? I said, well, nothing, I don't know. Yes, you will be here.
Wow.
So it's like really like in a movie to me. It was a very big moment.
You were in the Navy. Was that part of the German system where you have to do a year in Zivildienst, or so how does it?
Yes.
Civil service, and you either go to an old people's home and help with the community, or you go to the army or the...
Yes, we had this back then, but I decided to stay there for longer, because I made a trainee as a technics engineer, like an electronics engineer. So I had to stay there for a couple of years. So I went, I did this apprenticeship, and after I was serving on a boat, on a minesweeper, and also became a diver in the Navy.
Wow, so you were technical engineer.
I was there for almost 6 years.
Wow. Technical engineer, minesweeper, and a diver, is that right?
Yes.
That's very cool. And then in the meantime, you were playing...
All the time I was making music. So, but back then it was not like nowadays. You couldn't be a DJ. So a DJ was I don't know. It was just like he's serving something, but no one takes care. It's like you cannot. It was not a profession. So it was not enough money and not enough clubs, and it was. But during this time, the electronic music evolved. It was beginning of the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. So I'm in the electronic music scene since the very beginning. So my first record came out, I think, in 1992. And during the Navy times, I was just practicing. I remember in school mixing. I was mixing. I still remember my first mix. Was last night a DJ Saved My Life from Indeed and Madonna Holiday. And when I finished this, I was jumping through the flat of my parents. I was so happy, and my sister, what are you doing? And then I played this to my friends, and
they didn't think it was that cool.
Yeah, it was like no one was interested in this. So the DJ was the nerd who was sitting on the side, and all the others having fun. But I always liked it. It was from the beginning into the music. I think I'm never be concentrated more than when I'm DJing.
So I'm just to get this straight, you're minesweeping, diving, being in the Navy, fiddling on the side with your 808 and everything else. Then how do you take it from the ship and the water back to the land, and then start setting up your first label like Confused Recordings? And what's the next step?
When I was finished with the Navy, I went back to school for higher graduation, and then I got asked I was in Oldenburg, and then in Bremen there was like a magazine, a city magazine, so for parties, nightlife, also culture, everything. And the boss of this magazine asked me if I want to do a volontariat. I don't know in English.
It's like a internship as well.
Yeah, something like this.
It's not volunteering. But it's like you're
like an apprenticeship for 2 years. You can do it in a magazine, or you can study it. But so he asked me, and I was responsible for the nightlife, for the music. And during this time, I started already with producing, or a little bit before.
Was that on the boat still when you said you were making music?
No, this was finished during the time in the school. So he asked me, and then I went to this thing, because it was not possible to be just DJ also, and the electronic music scene was very small. I was on the first Love Parade here, and so I took this over to my home city, and so step by step I got into this. And after this apprenticeship in the magazine, so I was able to, because many things happened, and during this time I was able to live out of this. But this was so. I started producing, and one of our first tracks got bought by MFS, a Berlin label, Mastermind for Success, from Mark Reeder, and Love Stimulation was the second single, and we got big back then. So Paul van Dyk did a remix, and he was 17. So no one knew there was this little talent from Berlin playing at E-Work, and they had this connection. He came to our city and worked in the studio, and then from there it was like, bam, exploding.
When you said that you took a part of the Love Parade back with you to Bremen, did you set up a parade there, or do you mean you just
No. We went to the Berlin parade, and every year from the beginning, and also the first May Day raves in Halle Weißensee, and really German club history.
And did you ever have a float at the Love Parade of your
Yes,
own? Yeah?
I was my ex-partner on Confused Recordings, so from my first label. It was in 1995. We just was the year where we founded Confused Recordings, and in that year we also, my partner did a float, sponsored by Arte.
Wow!
Couldn't be better.
So Arte, for anyone listening, is a highbrow documentary channel.
Yeah, I think it's from France and Germany. It's a super channel, so they have the best documentaries.
And they had good taste in music.
Yeah.
So they knew that this was a scene coming about.
Absolutely. So they're still doing these things, like Tracks is very famous. It's like a documentary about any kind of music. I don't know if it still takes part, but they were always open-minded, and they see there's something coming, and they supported it, and it was amazing. I still get goosebumps when I think about about this.
Yeah, what about those, when you said the Weissensee raves?
Yes.
Like, can you give us a little insight into what that was like?
Yes, I can.
And exactly
because
what
I
that
remember
was.
there was the year when Speedy J brought Pullover. I don't know, maybe the young people, they don't know it, but it was a super hit back then. Everyone was playing, it was such a signal, and when this sound came, I was like, oh, I have no words for this feeling. It's like it's been yesterday. Or Afix Twin was performing, and during his set he was, I don't know, connecting or disconnecting something. Then there was a total blackout, and it started again. And yeah, it was something. We felt something new is coming here, and it was this Berlin style also with Tresor, the first year's E-Werk, and in the first E-Werk was not the big hall. Was you didn't find it because only on recommendations, and this it was like a normal house, and there was these cans like in the States with fire because it was cold in the evening and people standing around, and you have to go there, and then and at one point you were in this club, and it was amazing.
Did you at that time play in England? Did you go over?
No. Was back then it was not traveling so much. It was like going to Berlin was like super far away.
You're listening to Manipulation by Oliver Huntemann. setting up Confused Recordings, the scene is exploding, yes. You're experiencing these amazing raves. You also run a management company for artists. When did you start that company? Was that around the same time, or?
I was running Confused Recordings for, I think, 15 years. And I moved from Bremen to Hamburg because I needed some changes, but I was still with my partner. But after 5 years in Hamburg, I felt I need something different. We had different visions, and so I founded Sensor Sounds and also the artist agency Contrast Artists. So that was, it's exactly 5 years ago, because we're celebrating 5 years on Sensor Sounds already this year.
And your 50th release?
Yes.
So what kind of things have you got planned this year to celebrate those two events?
Yeah, we're still working on it, but we want to do like in summer 1 month only with label showcases. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it's July, so my agent is working on this. We have for sure Barcelona with the off week, and there's off week and also Sonar weekend. They split it on both weekends, and then again Cafes Istanbul, and we're talking about Lebanon.
Is that going to be another 24-hour rave?
Yes, in Cafe. You heard about it, okay, yes.
I do my research.
Yes. Well done. Yes, that was last year, was amazing. So almost all Sensor artists have been there, and for 24 hours is...
Were you up for the whole thing?
No.
No?
No.
Are you not allowed to say that?
I'm sorry, but I have to be honest.
So Mariana, his beautiful wife, is sat next to him saying that she was up for 24 hours, right? Was that thumbs up saying that? No?
We had our baby with us, so...
So maybe up, but not for rave reasons.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have a 2-year-old?
Yeah, we have one, but the older son is, he's already 27, so...
Wow. And
would not be possible.
And your one is 2. So you're doing so much. Like, you're running a booking agency, you're running a record label, you're an artist within your own right. You're a dad and a husband. When you're looking at the week in front of you as a creative, how do you separate that out?
Sometimes I still feel like a little boy because I go with the flow and I see what's happening, but sometimes I have to stuck in the office and just to do this paperwork, and then there's not so much time for creativity, and at the moment, so I don't go for fun in the studio anymore. Of course for fun, but not not without a plan in mind, so I don't have the time. So this is I was producing on the last album for almost 4 years or 5 years, not in one piece, but that
propaganda.
Took so much. Propaganda took a long time because I had something in mind that was difficult to get. In the end, I'm happy with the result, but it took really a lot of time and energy. Thank you. But if you travel that much, it's difficult to bring everything together, and I cannot work in the plane. So all the kids, so they're having the laptop, I'm not like this. I need the studio, I need the surrounding, and then the ideas coming. I bring them from the gigs and get inspired by many things, but I'm not. I cannot stay all night in the studio with my family, which is also very important. And things are changing over the years. I did all this, and I feel better when I'm more structured.
So within that, which is absolutely understandable, and other artists that we've spoken to have said that if anything, for their creativity to flow, balance is really important for them. So if you say structure is important, then how do you then structure that so that there is music time? When is that music time?
I feel it. So it's like I know now it's time, I have ideas, or I simply feel it. Now it's time to work on a new single, or now it's time to work on a new album. This is, now I have a story to tell. If not, it's not necessary. And
I see, so it's not like you're going in every week. You have your studio that you share with Andre Winter?
Yes, that's right. I'm actually, it's his studio. I brought all my stuff from Bremen, from the studio I had with Stefan Mutzin. I put it all into Andre's studio, but with all the things, I'm going only in the studio when I have the need to go.
And I read that you had done a big clear out of your studio, and you brought it back to basics in the sense of Logic, Native Instruments, plugins. What triggered that? Why did you get rid of your gear?
Back then, when we had this, with all my studio partners, so we had this outboard equipment, and I always was dreaming of this total recall thing, because sometimes you need to work on a track again. And with the old mixers, even with the first digital mixers, like the Yamaha ones, it's like you couldn't get it back like the same like it was before, and it's I love this new possibilities, opportunities with the Logic stuff, and you put it inside, and then it's there, and you can continue working, and no detuning, nothing. And I still have many of my old synthesizers, but it's like more like a museum, and I like the benefits of this new chapter. And I'm not like a super nerd, so Andre is more like the sound engineer, like the nerd. He knows everything about all this stuff. I don't know how to say it. I like the new opportunities. It sounds the same if you're into it. People say this sounds digital. I think nowadays the plugins are so good, and the sound, you don't hear any difference, and it has more pros than cons.
So Andre is quite a big character in your life.
Yes.
He's you're releasing on your label. He's remixed your Propaganda, not the whole album, but one of the tracks, which I absolutely love, Momentum.
Yes.
It's such a great track, so please check it out if you haven't heard it yet. And that is coming out on the remix compilation, part 2, which has come out on the 1st of February. Part 1 came out on the 30th of November last year. And you're also coming out with an EP with Andre.
Yes, the 50 of Senso will be our first collaboration. Amazing,
that's so cool. So that's a nice way to celebrate the label.
Yes,
as well.
We're starting also with this new series of collaborations. Like it's Contact, and so the first is by Andre and me, and the next one will be Maxim Dark and Joran van Poel. And so I want to have this to be continued with just collaborations.
So if Andre, as you said, is more, how did you put it? Sound nerd, or what did you say? Then when you guys are working together, how does that work collaboratively? Are you coming up with like beats and melodies, and then he's more looking at the mix and the master, or how does your collaboration
No, we're
work?
creating this together, but he's more like doing the main mix, and I'm more like the director, and we're finding this together.
So you're like, change this, Andre.
Yeah,
like, yes, sir.
Sometimes it's just a no or just a yes, and then sometimes I'm sitting there, we're having this loop, and I think about something is missing, or this is too much, but I need time, and then start it again, and then just like take it out, and then that's it, or this is missing. So it's
And he's also an artist on your artist agency.
Yes.
And
Of course.
That would be harsh if you didn't put him on there. Beatport podcast. This is the Andre Winter remix of the track Momentum by Oliver Huntemann. So I read that you're now collaborating with Analog with Carl Cox's agency.
Yes.
How did that come about, and what does that mean for you?
So the artist agency is run by my business partner Surat Bamrungpurt. He's also my tour manager, so we know each other for a couple of years. And he knows me very well. And I had this idea to start a own artist agency. I asked him, and he's running this more because I'm not in the office so much, but we're talking every day. And Analog came via our partner in Austria, Philipp Straub, and because he's very close to Carl Cox. And he told us about the changes with Analog, so that they want to extend their network, which is a super idea. And if we want to join Analog Central Europe and doing Germany. And also for me it's good, so we have new connections with South America, Spain, so many interesting countries, which are already very strong for me, but I think now it gets, we can take it on another level.
What was your initial reason for starting the booking agency?
Already when I was in Bremen with my ex-partner, I wanted to have it, but he had his own agency and didn't want to do another one. And I don't know, it was something, I felt this is something which belongs to the complete package. And so I'm totally free to do things. I joined also Cocoon bookings for 1 year, which was okay, but it's, if you have people who can work on this, who you can trust, you know they're giving everything, they have ideas, and this is the best you can get. And with Azura it was like this, also with Andre on the production side, and I'm very happy with these guys on my side, and we have the same philosophy, and
And it's really important, because if you're traveling so much that you know that someone's not booking you flights at crazy times, booking you hotels that are near enough so that you can get rest. And
as he used to be, or he's still my tour manager, one of my tour managers, so he knows exactly what I need, what I want, and he learned a lot, and he's doing this very, very well.
So what's on your rider?
Snickers.
Is that all? Just Snickers?
No, not just. I have no. Just a bottle of vodka, champagne, water, and Snickers. That's it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
For before the performance.
Yeah.
And
it's almost always on my place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What, by the
because
decks?
people like this Snickers thing. I don't know, but I have many Snickers at home. Packages, because I cannot eat all of them.
Yeah. And I'm interested, your wife's from Mexico.
Yes.
And she's very beautiful. You guys can't see her, but she is. How did you guys meet?
On a party.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I still remember every moment, because this party was so but I had the feeling it was always like a spotlight on her. It was wow. And then she didn't know me. It's okay. But her was it her brother-in-law was a big fan, and who wanted to take the picture? Was the sister of her brother-in-law wanted to take a picture, but she was too shy. And Mariana said, "Oh, come on!" And then we did the picture, and of course I took the opportunity to talk to her, and we ended up to going to another party. Yeah, and from there we were still in touch all the time. She came to Europe, to Barcelona. I'm in Barcelona. So, really? How cool is that? I play next week in Barcelona. And then, we visited each other. She came to Hamburg, and then she moved to London, and it became closer. I asked her to be my girlfriend. Now she's my wife.
Aww.
5 years ago, so it's...
Well, that's amazing. So 5 years.
Yes, it was a very important time for me.
A really amazing time. Yeah. Beautiful wife, beautiful child, a label, amazing releases, and one can hear that in the music, definitely. I really love Propaganda, that album, really, really do. So I was wondering, you know so many people, you've been in the scene for so long, and then you're going to put a compilation album together of remixes. Did you manage to offend a lot of people in this process by having to turn them down? Like, how did you pick them, and how did you say, yes to you, and did you have to say no to anybody?
I've had a list in my head, and I asked some of my colleagues, but there's some of them are simply too busy. I mean, they're traveling, and I know how it is, and then it's the wrong time. And but in the end, so beside I didn't have to say someone, no, it's not. All the tracks were good. Sometimes we were sending things back and forth, or no, it was not. But I didn't have to say to anyone, no, this is not good, or I don't like it, and was because I know with my experience who is delivering all the time good stuff, and who's working respectful and not like just 2 hours loop. And my tracks are not so tracky, they have a structure, and I like this with the other people as well. This is my style.
I can't imagine anyone just sticking a loop under it and then sending it back.
No.
Like, here's my remix.
No, but they all have a similar attitude, this slightly dark vibe in from Fur Coat to Rexen and Marco Reisman, Andre, so Hatzler, my old fellow, and I'm super happy. So this is I have always a list in mind who can be the next
Mark Hall.
remixes. Mark Hall, yes, one of my, I don't know, we don't know each other for such a long time. We always meet somewhere, not for a long time, but we always crossing, sometimes only at the airport. Hey Mark, how's it going? And so it was clear I have to ask him as well.
So now do you owe lots of remixes now?
Yes.
You got you got high-fived lots of remixes around. But that's also cool because, I mean, to feature on, Mark Hall's next remix compilation album, if he brings one out, would be great as well. You're listening to Rot Licht by Oliver Huntemann. 1995 you started Confused Recordings. So there's lots of people listening to this that are thinking about starting a label or have just started a label. Like, you've got so much experience. What advice would you give to them?
I mean, there was also so many changes when we started with the label thing. So I mean, vinyl sales were like huge. You not even have download sales nowadays like we had with vinyls, with underground music. It was, I don't know, some tracks went into the charts, but they were totally underground. And so times changed a lot. And it's difficult to say. It's similar to what I say also to young producers. So try to listen inside you and just follow what you like. And I mean, most people like. I'm not so like in a channel like super only one sound. I like left and right. I like house. I like techno, but I have I think a certain vibe with which I follow. I don't know, and this is what you have to find. Is not you cannot go too much left and right. Be focused and go that way.
Find your sound. Yeah,
find your sound. It sounds like. But it's like that. It's sometimes I get demos, and it's they have 6 genres already, from deep house till hard techno. This can't work.
This is exactly what the guest before last, Alinka, said.
But in your genre, you can make a variety. So I try also to always to also in my DJ sets to. Take them to a journey, make also surprises, but not too far away. It's still my sound, even if it's downbeat stuff. You hear it on my album. This is like sound experience, but this is still, you hear this is Huntemann. I hope so. This is what I
absolutely
want to create.
There's a real darkness as well.
Yeah,
but not melancholy.
No,
it's aggressive and forceful and metallic, but it's not melancholic.
Yeah. And it's difficult to say. Yeah, do it like this. There's but just when you're on the right path. And but it's hard work. And be patient. It takes a while.
I read that you said that in these times when anyone can get hold of DJ gear, it's even more important to stand out, to build your own brand step by step. Could you elaborate on that quote? So how could somebody expand on their brand?
I think the most important thing is to be authentic. So this is the key to success, in my opinion. It's like because then you know where to go and how to. Some people are going crazy on stage. Some others not, but both can be successful. But if they would do it the other way around, because then I'm pretty sure it would not work, because it's not authentic. One is like this, one is like that. But I remember in the beginning, so it was super underground, and best was the DJ was not even moving behind the decks, and this changed. So people are easygoing, dancing, having also fun, even the DJs. And but in the beginning, I mean, it was all very. I think most of us were also very nervous. I mean, if you do it every week 2-3 times, you don't need to be nervous anymore, and you have you can be a little bit more easygoing. But I don't know, 20 years ago it was like stressful, and I was very focused into the music. But it was important not to fuck off a mix. Do you say it?
Fuck up a mix.
Fuck up, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Mess up.
So it was so important, and nowadays many DJs or doing the sing thing or not, it doesn't matter. So, and what I learned is then I fuck up a mix, and it for many people it's interesting. Switching off the wrong turntable or things. It's what you make out of it. This is alive, and this is.
What's the worst mistake that's ever occurred? for you on stage?
Switching off a turntable, or what happened once was that one drunk guy was falling into the turntable, the complete setup, and this broke down, and he was laying there, and what is going on here? So,
what happened to him?
So the crowd opened a path, and he had to go through this, and they were booing at him. So he was guided out by the whole crowd.
What a hangover the next day.
I'm sure he didn't recognize anything afterwards. So it's like he was super drunk.
And tonight you're playing at Watergate?
Yes.
And I read that you played Watergate New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And at midnight you were in a taxi. And for anyone listening to this that doesn't know Berlin on New Year's Eve, it turns into some crazy war zone with the explosions, the fireworks. They don't shoot them up, they shoot them sideways, and I'm not even kidding. So to be in a taxi at 12, what was that like?
Yeah, that was, it was accidentally. We were supposed to go together, but my wife became sick, and I came from Episode Festival in Vietnam, and I was supposed to go straight to Berlin, but I decided to go back to Hamburg first and have a look at my family, having dinner together. And so I took the last train from Hamburg to Berlin, arrived at 5 to 12. So at 1 minute before 12, I was in the taxi. I mean, it was crazy at the train station. There were people, and oh my gosh. Yeah, and then it was very nice to see the fireworks out of the taxi going to Oberbaumbrücke.
This is the thing. Saying it like that makes it sound like, what am I going on about? But if you just go into YouTube after this podcast and put Berlin New Year's Eve, and you will see the fireworks.
Yeah. Last year I played also in Berlin. My parents were with us in the hotel, and they had a super nice view from the hotel room, and it was one of the biggest fireworks I've ever seen. But this year I didn't see much of this.
Well, I'm glad, because that means that you were safe. So you're going to be playing in Australia in March.
Yeah, I'm leaving on Monday.
Leaving on Monday, wow. So Watergate, then you get the rest for the weekend, and then what are you looking for? What can people in Australia expect from you?
I'm playing this time. Last time was a club tour, and now it's time for festivals. And I'm playing at days like this in Sydney, then the Circus Paradise Festival at Gold Coast, and the last festival is Pitch Art and Forms, somewhere out of Melbourne, 2 hours away, and in between 2 club shows in Melbourne at Brown Alley on Friday, and the other one is a secret. I cannot tell.
Okay. Oh wow. So you like harking back to the old days,
yes.
Secret raves. Cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So this year you said you've got collaborations planned for the label. You've obviously got this amazing remix compilation, which has the part 2, which has just come out 1st of February. You're going on tour. You've got Australia. What else have you got coming up to tell the good people of Beatport about? That's quite a lot already, but yeah.
So I mean, you asked, or you know already everything. So I just wanted to surprise you with the 50 and with the okay, we have this.
I need to stop doing so much research.
So I've signed Hidden Empire as well for a single. It's coming soon, and the next single will be from Maxim Dark. He's one of the upcoming artists at the moment. He's also in our agency, and people go crazy.
From Berlin?
No, he's from Yekaterinburg, or 200. He said Yekaterinburg.
Russia.
It's Russia.
Yeah,
yes,
that's one.
far away.
But
he's going to Berlin. He's moving to Berlin.
Okay.
He's only searching for a flat, as I know. I'm going to meet him tonight because he will be there. And he's a big talent in my.
How did you find him?
I liked his stuff over the years. He was also on SciTech at a super single, and I just asked him if he's interested in doing something, and as soon as we were in touch, he delivered 2 great singles, and I thought maybe this guy can be someone also for the agency, and it's going crazy. It's like he's playing everywhere.
2017 by Oliver Huntemann. much A&Ring do you do with the records that come on the label? I mean, is there a lot of back and forth? You said with the remixes there was a lot of back and forth, or not?
Not a lot.
Not some. Sorry.
Few. So usually I don't talk too much. So it's like either a track is good, or it's not good enough. So I cannot say put this hi-hat louder or do this and that. Sometimes I give a little advice, but usually it's not working out because so people deliver something, and if someone else is bringing his intentions, then you have to be in the studio. So and I don't want to be saying. So no, it's like they have to find their own style, and if I see talent, so they're sending stuff after, and at one day we have it or not. And usually I hear it, it's working, or I say no.
That makes sense. Also for your time.
Yeah.
You know. How much time do you have to actually listen to promos and to go digging for music nowadays?
It's not enough. I try to. Mostly, I have the best time I have to listen to music is in the plane. If I have a long distance flight or so, then I can be focused most. I can organize everything, and so this is I make a selection. I cannot listen to everything, but I have someone who's doing a pre-selection, and then I can choose by myself the rest. So.
How do you organize your music?
With Rekordbox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when it's in Rekordbox, what kind of order system do you have?
I tell you this story, the history of my Rekordbox, because it's a Rekordbox. It started with my vinyl Rekordbox, and when it was time to switch over to digital media, from vinyl I swapped to Traktor Scratch, and my last Rekordbox exists still, like my last set, and I imported this one by one into Traktor, and since then I work with this initial one, like with my Rekordbox in original. So I throw out stuff and new stuff comes in. So I have always a selected Rekordbox and not tons of playlists. I have, of course, my Zenso playlist and all this stuff, but not like others have this, tons of players. I have and I also don't have like 500 tracks in my Rekordbox. It's like just a selected, like my. It was not possible before to travel with much. And I think if you have a good organization, then you can deliver best. I've heard recently from another DJ. He's not even using Rekordbox because he likes this chaos and he's more creative with this kind. I don't know how you can be creative if you don't know.
Is this Andre Oliver by any chance? Because that's exactly what he said to me when I interviewed him for this podcast. Exactly that line. Yeah. Okay, it's too mathematic for me. If it's organized, I like chaos.
Yeah.
Was it him?
I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
Because there's some. I often see people playing with our Rekordbox, and then the waveform is building up while playing, and so I could not be like this. I need to know what to play when, because this is creativity for me, because then I can combine things not only accidentally, so because then I know what I do.
So in that way, do you then put together sets before you play somewhere, or you have an idea of sections that go together?
No, I have my Rekordbox, and then I see what's happening in the club, and then I start with don't know. I still like to tune in myself. So with deeper, more quiet things. I still have problems when it comes to a rave or with a 1 hour set, like to start full on. So this stresses me. I can do it because I have experience, but I like more long sets. I mean, I play still sets, all night long sets, sometimes at Watergate, like from the beginning till the end. It was like from 12 till 9. I did one of these absurd parties on Thursday, all night long. So, and sometimes I do this, not so often anymore, but I like it, because you play different tracks, and then you know how they sound, how you can put them in maybe also in a main set, or they sound different in a club, and you never play them, but this like experience, and not like only the standard 2-hour set. Everyone can do this.
So what's your favourite length? Like, what's the best set length for you? I mean, 9 hours is a long time. Is that
yeah, that doesn't mean it's a good set.
No, that would be too long for me. Like, what would you?
Yeah, so sometimes 2 hours are too much. It's like if I have to get a connection to the people, and sometimes it's working. Mostly it's working. Usually at one point I catch the people, but if not, then it's like I get nervous and yeah, I don't know.
You want to go home?
Not really, because I take my job serious, and if it's not, I try everything to make it happen. And I always go through my set in my head afterwards, because I always have something which was not good enough. So this makes me crazy. Like, why didn't I play this track at that time? And but I'm very critical with myself. So
you make notes to yourself, okay, and then go through your record box and chuck that tune out, or
sometimes, yeah, if it's still in my mind, and then I take it out, or I say, oh, well, next time I have to play it. So make
Be
a
brave.
note in, yes, so this because I forgot it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, there's been so many interesting stories, especially about the early days of Berlin, and your music's amazing. Like I said, I've really enjoyed delving in even deeper in preparation for this chat. So please, anyone that hasn't listened to Propaganda, the album that came out in 2017, you need to go and listen to that. And the remix album came out part 1 on November the 30th last year, and part 2 on the 1st of February. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave the good people of Beatport with before we say goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye for sure, and keep on raving. So we're still in the beginning.
Woo! Cool, awesome, thank you. This is the track Fuego, remixed by Julian Duwile. Out on Senzo Sound, it was originally by Dubfire and Oliver Huntemann. By Raxon out on Dynamic. This is Destiny. The last track for today is by Several Definitions. It's called Ad, and it's out on Underground Audio. This has been a conversation with Oliver Huntemann and Beatport. I've been your host, Tidalite. Thanks for listening. Beatport Podcast.